Hi, welcome to this DCP Web HTML5 and CSS beginners tutorial part 2. So in the second part of this tutorial, we're going to build a very basic web page using HTML5 coding. The first thing we want to do is create a folder on our desktop. And we'll call this folder website design for now. And we just drag and drop that over here. And on this left hand side, we've got Google Chrome and Notepad++. So the first thing we want to do is open up Notepad++, and if you see any content in here, you might, if you're loading Notepad for the first time, you might see some written content in here. So you can just go ahead and click this red button here to close it, and then just make sure you've got a new document. So you click this new button here, and just make sure you've got basically a blank new document. We'll open up Google Chrome, and with Google Chrome we're going to drag and drop it to the left hand side. It's almost like a 50-50 split. We can actually make Chrome a little bit bigger, a little bit wider like this. And normally I drag down from the top here a little bit so I can see this folder here in the background. And the first thing we want to do is go to File, Save As, and we'll find that folder, and we're going to call this index.html. So make sure you type in index.html. Let's go ahead and click the save button. So we've got a blank document now, and we can open up this folder, and inside this folder we see this document we just saved. It's called index.html, and we're going to drag and drop it into Google Chrome so we can see this in here, and we'll close this folder. Now we've basically got a blank document here. There's no content. You can see the document is empty on this side, and as we make updates here, we can save it and then reload the page, and we can see our updates on this side. So we're going to create a really basic page. Now, just a bit of knowledge here. We'll be using HTML5. So there was 4 versions before that, version 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we want to be using version 5 of HTML. And to tell the browser that we're going to be using HTML5, we have to give a doc type declaration at the top here. So we need to, if you look at your keyboard, you've got the shift key here and the open and close brackets here. So these are the main tags that we're going to be using. So we hold down the shift key and we use this little let's zoom in a little bit here. It's this open bracket and close bracket here, these 2 keys. So I'm going to hold down the shift key and do the open and close bracket like this, and then we'll just, whenever you're doing updates to your website, it's worth saving it on a regular basis so that when you're doing your code, so just press Ctrl S on your keyboard if you're on Windows, or you can click this little save icon here, save. So in between these brackets we need to type something. We need to tell the web browser that we're using HTML5, and we do that by using the exclamation mark. So we hold down the shift key and press number 1 on the keyboard, hold down shift and number 1, that will give us the exclamation mark. And normally I'll do this in capital letters, so doc type and then lowercase HTML. So this just tells the web browser, if we were to save this and then reload the page, you still won't see anything, but this just tells the web browser we're using HTML5. That's quite important. Now the next thing we want to do is basically build a very basic web page. So the first tag, normally I'll come down an extra line to line 3, and we're going to do the open and close tag, and we're going to type in HTML just here like this. And with every open tag, in most cases, not in all, but in let's say 90% of the cases, when we do an open tag like this, we need to do a closing one. So we'll go down a few lines and we'll open and close the brackets, and we'll put a backslash and then .html like this. And the backslash key is the question mark key on your keyboard, yeah? So if we look at the keyboard, we're using this key. It's really these 3 keys we use mainly. So this is like the backslash key here. You don't need to use the shift key, just that on its own will do the backslash. Okay, so we've got an open and closing tag, and we should save our work. And in between these tags is where all of our content is going to go. So there's nothing that we normally put after the HTML tag down here, and there's normally nothing that we put above it. Most of our code will always go in between. We may write comments above or below, but it's rare that you would ever do that. So in between here, what we want to do is we want to start we could say writing elegant code, yeah? So we want to do some formatting, basic formatting to our code so that it's easier for us to read later. and we're going to use the tab key on our keyboard. So here's the tab key. This is the tab key, and that will allow us to indent our code. So I'm going to hit the tab key one time, and you can see it's moved across. And in here, I want to type in head. And then I'm going to go down 2 lines, and I'm going to type in head again, like this. And then I'm going to come down, and I'm going to type in body. And I'm going to come down a few more lines and then type in body again. So a nice way to think of this is, imagine this is like a real person. The person needs a head and the person needs a body, and you can think of this as the hair at the top of the head and these are the feet. So that's kind of how I learnt it. This is the head of the person and this is the body. So we're going to put some information in here, a bit of knowledge up here, and then the rest of the body, the substance, will go in here. The real code will go in here. So what we'll do is, in the body section, let's just type some information in. Because if we save this document and go over and hit the refresh button, so you can hit this reload button, or you can press the F5 key on your keyboard, yeah? So to save you a bit of time, we don't actually have, well, this would normally be like the F5 key. So if you look at the really top of your keyboard, you'll see there's an F5 key. It's actually here, F5. It's a bit hard to see, but this is using a different style of keyboard. It's like a function keyboard. So this is the F5 key. So normally you have an F5 key on your keyboard, and you can hit that key to refresh the page. In here, we're going to type in, this is my first website page. You can put whatever you like in here, and we're going to save it. So we press Ctrl S or click save, and then we'll come over to refresh. You can use this button or F5 key, and it says here, look, this is my first web page. So really, you've built your first web page now. You've written the basic structure, the raw structure for the HTML page, and then you've put some written text in there. You could, in theory, publish this on the internet, and then this will be your first web page. So give yourself a pat on the back. You've actually built your first page. But let's add a little bit more in here. So in this head tag, what is this all about? So here we can put some other declarations. If you can see, as default, it says index.html up here, right? And we want to change that. So in this tab, we want to really say, what is this page about? And it's the first web page. So we're going to use another tag here called title. And remember, when we open a tag, we want to close the tag. So we'll type in \title here. So we'll open and close it, and then we put our content in the middle. So we'll write in my first web page. Let's do website page. And we're going to save this and then go and refresh. Now you can see it says my first website page. So really, you've built your first website page now. That's it. You've built your basic page, and you know, although this is a very basic page, really you're learning the key fundamentals. You're writing. Remember, this is not really code. These are tags, yeah. So these tags don't actually perform an action in terms of programming. All they're doing is telling the web browser, you know, what you want me to do. You've given me this body tag, and you need to really write something inside here, or I can't really do anything with the web page. If you're going to put a title tag in here, you need to put something in between, or I can't really display anything up here. So the code that you're writing in here is being interpreted by the web browser, and it's looking at your code, and then it's rendering it out here. We call these tags, yeah? Tags. Later, we may look at something called JavaScript. And JavaScript is really where you can start doing performing some actions or some calculations. You could use JavaScript to add two numbers together, for example, or to build some interaction on your page. But that's much more advanced. And we'll be looking at something called Bootstrap as well. And Bootstrap is it's like a core set of tools that we can use to build much more advanced websites. We call them responsive sites. So they'll respond depending on the size of the browser, the resolution of the browser. So you can see here, as I shrink down and up, you'll notice that on some websites the formatting will change, and we use Bootstrap to do that. There's many other tools we can use, but Bootstrap's kind of the main one that we use. So I'm going to finish the tutorial here, and in the next tutorial we'll start to write some more advanced tags, some more advanced code. But give yourself a pat on the back because you've actually built your very first web page. We can go ahead and close this Notepad++, and even if we were to close the web browser, to get that page back again, we'll just open up our folder and drag and drop the file in, and there we can see it. So let's close this all down. You've got your first web page built, some very basic code, and I look forward to seeing you in the next DCP web tutorial.